Welcome to Uplift. Today we are speaking to a doctor who has saved the lives of 32 babies. Hi Dermot, thank you for joining us in Uplift today. We are here today to talk about the abortion pill reversal, commonly known as APR. Can you tell us a bit more about why women would seek this treatment?
Women come to us seeking the treatment because in the vast majority of cases, if not all cases, they have made a decision to have a medical abortion or to undergo abortion largely because of pressure or coercion from other people. So it's not always their voluntary decision that they have decided to have an abortion in the first place. Then if it's a medical abortion, which the majority of abortions in this country now are, if it's a medical abortion, very often, or the ladies that we meet, they've taken the first pill, mifepristone, and then they realise that they've done something that they totally regret, and they, in desperation, look to see is there any way that they can prevent the abortion from proceeding. The majority of patients that have come to us have contacted us through the internet. They've gone to an abortion reversal site online and have contacted the helpline, who in turn put them in contact with us. So the reason that the majority are seeking to reverse their abortion is because they've never wanted to proceed with abortion in the first place.
And so how does APR work?
Well, medical abortions are induced using two drugs. The first drug is called mifepristone, and that's a specific progesterone receptor antagonist. Progesterone is essential for maintaining pregnancy. It is essential for maintaining a process called decidualization, which is development of the endometrium or the lining of the womb to allow pregnancy to begin and to continue. So progesterone is essential for that. Mifepristone blocks the progesterone receptor, so prevents the effect of progesterone in having that essential effect to maintain the pregnancy. The second drug, which is taken 1 or 2 days later to induce abortion, is misoprostol, which is a prostaglandin which causes uterine contraction and expulsion of the baby, the fetus. So the reversal procedure, or maybe rescue procedure might be a better term for it, works by using progesterone, the natural hormone that is essential for pregnancy, in the hope that if it can be given promptly in time before mifepristone has had its full effect, mifepristone being the first drug, abortion drug, then it can prevent sometimes, not always, but it can sometimes prevent mifepristone from having its devastating effect, and so preserve the life of the baby and preserve the pregnancy.
And so what is the success rate of the treatment?
That's a very important question, actually. For example, I usually put it to the women that contact me. I put it to them, I tell them the truth, I'm totally honest with them at all stages. If they take the first pill, mifepristone, and then follow it with the second pill, misoprostol, there's a 98 to 99% chance that abortion will occur, that it will be complete. If they take the first pill, mifepristone, but don't take the second pill, misoprostol, but if they don't receive any rescue treatment with progesterone, there is at best a 20-25% chance that the baby might survive. So it's a 75 to 80% chance that abortion will still occur. If they take mifepristone, change their mind, seek help and get progesterone promptly, then there is a 55% chance or so, I'm talking about UK figures, 55% chance that the baby will survive. So that's an increase in survival rate from 20-25% up to 55% with that simple and widely available treatment.
Often in the media, APR is described as experimental, as dangerous. Is this true?
No. They claim that, first of all, that the treatment doesn't work, and yet we have the figures from observational studies and from real life figures to show that yes, it does work many times, not always. There is a 45% failure rate, unfortunately, and that could be improved by more prompt treatment. I probably would have liked to have added that in the United States, for example, where treatment is widely known and widely available and available very promptly for women who request it, the success rate is up to 68% with oral progesterone. The reason that the people who are against abortion pill reversal, at least the reason that they say that it's dangerous, is very much based on one very flawed study by a guy called Mitchell Kreinen from California, who is an outspoken critic of APR, and he wanted to find some way to prove that it didn't work. So he set up a study which he claimed would be enough to just get 40 subjects, so 20 in two wings. These were women who were already going to undergo abortion, and he persuaded them to delay their abortion for 15 days to allow them to try this, what he called disjunct science. And so they had the mifepristone, and then the following day they were given either placebo or progesterone, and then they were followed up with scans and so on. 2 women pulled out after the first 2 or 3 days because they just didn't like continuing for personal reasons. Of the 10 women, so only 12 were recruited, and 2 pulled out. Of the 10 women who continued, 5 were in the progesterone group, 5 were in the placebo group. 3 women attended emergency service because of bleeding. Now we know that bleeding occurs after mifepristone almost always, unless it's taken after 10 or 11 weeks. Most women who take mifepristone, regardless of whether they get progesterone or not, will have some bleeding. So bleeding occurs. But anyway, 3 women attended the emergency service because of bleeding. 1 of them required a blood transfusion. Now she had received placebo, she hadn't received progesterone. The woman who received progesterone, there was no significant blood loss. She did not require a blood transfusion. There was no significant drop in her hemoglobin level. And yet the study was pulled on the basis that, there was too dangerous because too many women were bleeding. I suspect, now I can't prove this, but I suspect that the real reason for studying was that when they looked at the other figures, of the 5 women who continued progesterone, 4 of them were still pregnant, 80% after 15 days. 2 of the women who received the placebo were still pregnant, that's 40%. That's doubling the survival rate, which is exactly the same as what we claim by use of progesterone in APR.
In your work as a doctor, you've helped women access progesterone for APR. Why was this something that you decided to do?
Because women asked for it. I'm a member of the Catholic Medical Association, and we were totally unaware of this possibility up to 2014. At that time, Jack Scarisbrick, the founder of Life, approached the CMA to tell us about this wonderful news that was coming through from the United States. And 4 years later, 2018, Claire McCulloch from Good Counsel Network came to us with the same plea. Both of them actually wanted the CMA, the Catholic Medical Association, to become involved because they were already at that stage receiving so many requests from women who had taken mifepristone and they had nobody to turn to. They regretted that they had taken the mifepristone. They were desperate to save their babies, and they wondered, was there anything that could be done? Now, Jack Scarisbrick was, I suppose, a pioneer in that he had looked up and seen this news from the United States, which we hadn't even heard about up until that time. So we spent the next 4 or 5 years researching the issue before we decided to, yes, we need to become actively involved in this.
Why do you think it's important for women to access this type of treatment?
Because there's a demand, they need it. These are women who have made a choice initially for whatever reason, usually due to coercion or lack of proper information, to undergo abortion, but then they've realised the horror of what they've done and they've changed their mind and they desperately want to see their baby. So there is a demand. In the I've been prevented from continuing this treatment because of orders from the General Medical Council and the Medical Practitioners Tribunal Service. Were under investigation after complaints from the abortion industry because of the rescue treatment we were providing. But in the 9-month period that from April 2021 until now that we've been prevented from providing the service, we're aware of at least 167 women who have contacted the abortion reversal helpline seeking help, but they've been told, unfortunately, that no help is available. So we know that this is a problem that is not going to go away.
What was your experience in treating women in this way?
My experience, and my colleague who helped me with this, Dr. Eileen Riley, in obstetrician in Glasgow, we've both discussed this, and both of us, without doubt, we've been practicing medicine for a long time. I qualified in 1989, and without doubt, this was the most rewarding aspect of medicine that I've ever been involved in, and Eileen would say exactly the same. It brings a lot of joy, a lot of heartache. The heartache initially, it's so sad when a woman has tried, she's contacted us, we've got her progesterone, and then she's tried the treatment, and initially things seem to be going okay, but then she loses the baby, and that is really heartbreaking. And there was a time, especially in the early stages, when I was decided I couldn't continue with this. It was so emotionally draining. But then the joy when they have a scan, and then 5-6 weeks later they're still pregnant and the baby's developing nicely, and then eventually they give birth, which 32 of our babies have been born to women who've requested treatment. The joy that we experience, that they experience, and that their extended families experience makes it so worthwhile. I feel sometimes like the film Schindler's List with Liam Neeson, when Oscar Schindler is talking to the character played by Ben Kingsley, Itzhak, that he's looking at all the 1,200 Jews that he's managed to save, but then he's counting that if only could have started this earlier, he could have done more, or he could have saved more, and there's this regret that there was so many left behind that couldn't be saved. And I sometimes feel in a similar position that we've saved some, yes, but there are so many that, given the opportunity, we possibly could have done a lot more good as well.
Now that the case from the General Medical Council has been dismissed against you, Dermot, have you anything to say for our pro-life community?
For viewers or anyone involved in the pro-life cause, I would say never give up, never tire of doing what you know to be right. Many times people have asked us, myself and Eileen, what motivates you? Why do you keep going? Because you're not going to win this case. The GMC is too strong. But we know that even if we lose, even if the court case goes against us, even if the GMC strike us off, we know that we have done something very good. So never, please, never tire of doing what you know to be right.
Thank you, Dermot, for your time, and thank you for everything that you're doing to protect mothers and babies.
Thank you, Catherine.